Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before I get started, the housekeeping notes. All of the product I'm using and all the dimensions will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products and help support my channel. There's our Facebook group. We love you to join that. There's my email address if you have any questions. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe and help me grow in YouTube world. This is going to be one of those videos where I just sit down and design. The two things I've decided on is I am using the Charming Day stamp set, and I'm using, I think it's called Charming Floral Charm, DSP. I grabbed a whole bunch of ink, and I'm going to watercolor today because this paper, to me, screams watercolor me. So first I have to decide on the paper, and I've been looking at all of these papers and as I've been talking, and yes, these are very beautiful, but this is very beautiful too, and I love the tones in this. So I think we're going to use this piece of paper here as our guide. Now, as far as cardstock, I haven't dug anything out yet. But what I want to do first is I want to stamp these pieces here. And I believe there's, until I've been playing with this set, there is dies to cut all those out. And then we may come back and cut out some individual greenery out of other colors, maybe some pecan pie or something. May watercolor a couple little pieces too. So let's get started. I'm going to set this off to the side so I can look at it, and I'll bring it back occasionally. Now, before we get started, you do need watercolor paper for this, which we do sell in the book. Now, we did sell water painters, and I was looking to get the number for everybody, and I realized we don't have them anymore, and I don't know why. But I know many of you do have aqua painters or another brand of aqua painters. Or the other thing that works is paintbrushes. So I'm going to use a combination of paintbrushes and aqua painters. So I have my aqua painters and paintbrushes in a cup here. So they're nice and easy to get to. I'm going to go ahead and pull the caps off my aqua painters. The only one I actually put water in is the big one. Set those off to the side. And I have two glasses, one for clean water and one for dirty water. And I have a couple sheets of this. Now, in order to do the watercolor painting and stuff, you do need to stamp with Stazon. So, this is how much I have not planned this video. I have not even mounted anything on blocks yet. So I know we're going to want this one. And I think we're going to do the big one as well. And this little piece of foliage. And I know I want the happy birthday. But we won't be coloring the happy birthday. But we'll just pull them out. We've got all these. And I need to grab some blocks. And get these on some blocks so I can see what I'm doing. And then this one we'll put on this one here. So what I'm going to do is I've also got some scrap here. So I'm going to stamp the small flower and a leaf on a scrap here and then I'll stamp everything on this as well. Because I like to have a piece of scrap to, play around with color before I go to my actual item. You want to make sure this is good and covered. You cannot clean this with regular stuff. You have to have Stazon cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that one right there. And it's a little faint, but that's okay. Looks like my Stazon. Do I have any Stazon in here? It looks like I need to redo my Stazon, but that's okay. I don't really care if it's that dark. Lighter is better. And I'm going to want a couple of those, I can tell. And we'll go ahead and put one of these over here. But yes, I do need to redo my Stazon. We'll put one on my test sheet. We'll set those off to the side. And then this one here, I'll probably do 2 of these here. And there. And one over on this one. I believe in having someplace to test your colors before you go. And like I said, they are pretty light, and that's fine. So let's go set this one off to the side. I'm going to look at this again. The flowers are darker in the middle. Well, it depends on the flower. We got light and dark, so it looks like we've got maybe some Blackberry Bliss, maybe a little fresh freesia in there. And the leaves look like they're Pecan Pie. So I've got Pecan Pie. There's fresh freesia. Oh, there's Blackberry. We're going to start with those. And I'm going to grab me a few small blocks here to mount my ink on. So let's do the leaves first. And that's going to be Pecan Pie. So I'm just taking this one little block. Besides other supplies I have a couple of microfiber towels and a stack of paper towels. And what I want to do, I'm going to be doing what's called dry. You can wet this down if you wanted, but I'm doing what's called dry. Is where you don't put extra water on the paper. And I'm just using my aqua painter. Oh, that one doesn't have any water in it. That's why nothing's coming out. I'm just putting a little water on here. Just a few drops. And then I'm going to grab, this is pretty small, so I want to just mix up my paint here a bit. Leave a little bit of the darker on the sides. Make sure I'm not too wet. Tap that off a little bit. And I'm just going to come in here. And if I go outside the lines a little bit, I'm not too concerned about it. Let's grab a little darker in there. And then we'll pull in. So that's what that looks like. Let's do the leaves on this other part here. This is my test sheet, but it's on a piece. If it turns out good, we could use it. And I'm grabbing, see, I've still got dark off to the sides here, so I can grab a little darker. I am trying to stay inside the lines, but if I go out a little bit, I'm not going to worry. And then we're going to bring that piece of paper back in here in just a second. Okay, now I'm just going to clean this in my dirty water and set it off the side. Not get rid of that brown yet. I'm just going to set it off to the side. Now that's still wet, so you don't want to be touching it. But let's bring this back and see what we're looking at. How that looks with that. That looks pretty good. Other than it could use a little darker. Maybe I need some little bit of Early Expresso in that. Hang on. Let me grab some Early Expresso. That's why you do test sheets, because then you can determine if you've got the right colors or not. So I'm going to get a little Early Espresso. Not a lot, because it's rather dark. And I'm going to come back in here and grab water from this one and put it in the Early Expresso, just a little bit. And we'll see what this looks like. Because it may be that we need to do these out of a light Early Expresso and not the Pecan Pie. I'm just testing by itself. Oh, it's not Pecan Pie we want to use. It's Early Expresso. Look at the difference here. Okay, Early Expresso it is. I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to clean this off because I'm not using it. I'm just taking my paper towel and wiping that off. When I'm all done, I'll take these out and wash them in the sink. So that took care of that color. Now it's time to figure out the, we'll set the Early Expresso over there and get rid of the Pecan Pie. Now we need to figure, I'm still thinking Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to go with a bigger block for Blackberry Bliss too. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some water in here. But this is how I start by playing and figuring out what I'm going to do. And I'm still going to use my, like I said, you could use the paintbrush. I could use the paintbrush a little bit. I'm going to mix this up a little bit. Grab my piece of paper towel. That's pretty dark. So, but it looks really good. Now I'm not going to use this brush on these because it's too big. You need a really small one, and I could not find my very small brush this morning. But I think I'm just after color right now. And then if I come in here on the very, very dark and do a little highlighting with that. Okay. Let me see. I'll be doing a neater in a minute, but I think the colors are right. Okay, so Early Expresso and Blackberry Bliss it is. Let's color. Well, I guess we're doing Blackberry since it's out. I'm going to use my Aqua Painters, because it's got a smaller nib here. We're going to go into the diluted first, and I will put this in a little bit for you. And I'm just going to come in here in the middle of this flower, doing around the outside first. And we'll come back and just doing around the flowers. And pulling it in. We'll add a little highlight to it in a minute. Get a little more, and I'm going to take off just a touch over here. I've got my little thing here. Around the edge some more. You do need a fine tip. So if it's Aqua Painters or paintbrush, you do need a little round brush. Like I said, I have a tiny brown brush, and I could not find it this morning for the life of me. I'm tapping off on there because I don't want to get too much water on here. Now you can try this on white paper, but I don't think it blends as well. But it will work. Just have to watch you really don't get it too wet because it will buckle on you a lot. Oop, I didn't tap that one off, but that's okay. Now, we should have some darker spots here. So I'm going to come back into, move this so you can see where I am. I'm coming back in here to the dark here. And adding some darker bits here. We're going to blend them out, don't worry. A little darker in the center. And a little bit of dark for this center here. Now I'm going to come in here and start blending. And I'm not going to do much on that little one. I just wanted some light. Got that one spot there. Okay. And I got some lighter areas, and that's what I want. So I want it to look a lot like the paper. So let's do these other two flowers. Going into the lighter, I'm tapping off so I don't get it too dark. Now, if you don't want to paint, you could sit there and color these with blends. But I just thought doing this in the aqua painter would be really nice. Okay, and I'm just sitting here getting just a little darker. I'm not even going into the full strength. I'm just going into the other and getting a little darker right in the center. Try to keep it in the frame. Sorry, I slide out there all the time. And then this one. And I know I get quiet when I'm doing this. A little darker, so I'm going to just come around the edge here. I like that. Like I said, it's not, if you want fussy detail, then go to coloring or something. I did not want that. I wanted it really loose. I'm getting this clean now. But I'm not going to get rid of that blackberry quite yet. Set it off to the side. And I'm going to bring back in that Early Expresso. Let me get a little water on here. Tapping off just like I did the others. And like I said, I'm not getting very fussy about this. I love watercoloring. It's relaxing, and it's something you don't do all the time. And yes, I'm getting different shades because I'm dipping into different areas of the Early Expresso. So if I go into darker, I'm going to get a darker flat leaf. Okay. And I just keep going. A few more leaves to go. And a little white shows, or a little beige from the watercolor shows through. I don't care. Oh, I think I want a little more dark on that one. And add a little dark over on this side. And this one would stick to it being dark as well. Okay, so got one. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Let's get these little leaves here. Like I said, you could do these with blenders, but I like doing aqua and doing watercoloring. And you don't have to be precise in watercoloring. Trust me, you don't. I am no painting artist, that's for sure. That was my mother. My mother did oil paintings. Matter of fact, I'm sitting looking at one right now. One of these days I'll have to take you around with the camera and show you her paintings. Getting this one rather dark. The other two leaves, I'm going to go off to the side here. I'm going to get a little more water in here. I've got one painting in here and two in the living room. I think that's all we had left that she didn't give away. I have three. Okay, I'm just about done. And when I've been sitting here coloring this, I'm going to go a little darker on this here. There's some dies to cut out some free leaves. And I was thinking, I want to cut them out so they sort of match this. So I've got, this is the back side of the one we just did. Okay, I'm going to grab a paper towel. And I'm actually going to grab this large one here. And I'm going to grab a bunch of this. And I may have to put a little more in here. And what I'm going to do, definitely going to have to put more in. I am just getting, this is not the best paintbrush to be doing this with. Hang on, I'm going to get some more Early Expresso here. Because if I do this, get a different brush, it's much easier to work with. That's much easier to work with. I'm going to cover this and then die cut this so that my leaves match the rest of the leaves. And I don't really care what way the brush strokes go because it doesn't matter. But this piece I should be able to get 2 strips out of. And let's see, put a little more dark in here in the center. I know it doesn't look too pretty, but it does match the brown that I used over there, which almost looks, believe it or not, looks almost like copper. Okay, hang on, I'm cleaning my brushes here. Whatever you do, don't put your paint brushes or your aqua pinners away dirty, because they'll get all nasty and then you'll be upset. Let that soak for a few minutes. It's got Blackberry Bliss in it. Okay. And I'm going to wipe off. Oop. Let's wipe off these blocks here. So I don't get ink everywhere. And put this in the trash. Okay, so these all have to dry before we can die cut them. And we can use the heat tool if they don't dry here in a few minutes. But we got some other things to do. What kind of card am I going to make? I haven't even decided what style of card I'm making. Oops, let's pull you back out. Let's see. Blackberry Bliss Early Expresso. I'm thinking Blackberry Bliss card base. Should we make a Z-fold card maybe? Okay. I'm grabbing some paper. Like I said, I haven't grabbed anything out. And I think I need to use Very Vanilla. I don't think white's going to look too good with that. So, yep, I think we'll go Blackberry Bliss card base. So, should we do a Z-fold? And what style of Z-fold do we want? We want vertical or horizontal? I will have all these dimensions once I figure out what I'm doing. We're going to go vertical. So I'm going to cut my paper to 5.5 by 8. And then I'm going to, on the 8-inch side, I am going to score this at 4 1/4. And half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8. So that's that part. And we'll give that a good burnish. And then we will fold this back. Okay. So I know I want to put a piece of DSP here and a piece of DSP there. Or just there and leave an extra space for signing. I just put a piece here and leave a piece for signing. So if I cut the DSP, by putting a signing spot in, also saves you DSP. So let's cut this at, I'm trying to see if it is sort of directional this way. So let's cut this 5 1/4. By 4. And then we're going to cut it at 2 inches. So it's 2 by 5 1/4. So we have one here. And one's going to go here. Just like that. And if I do this right, that direction there, you can see where they actually were cut from. Okay, now I want a piece to come out the top, but I don't want to cut that yet. I do need a piece for the inside. I'm going to use Very Vanilla. What's this one measure? It's almost, so we need another 2 by 5 1/4. So that takes care of the inside with a little scrap there. That's a place to sign. So let's go ahead and put these pieces on. I'm trying to give the pieces over there enough to dry before we start cutting them up. without, I don't like to use the heat tool on them that much because I don't want my paper warping. That looks pretty good. And I'll part a little piece. I'm not going to put anything on this. It's strictly for signing. And then this piece. And the reason I said we're not going to go any further with this, there's going to be a piece that comes off this, but I don't know what I want yet because I haven't cut the pieces out. So this is as far as I've got so far. So let's set that aside and see how wet we are. Oh, that's dry enough. And I'm gonna have to, we'll let that hang out for a minute. And these will all cut through the small machine if I separate them. I'm just letting that one sit over there dry for an extra minute or two. And I'm cutting them all out. I don't know if we're going to use them all, but I wanted to have them handy. That's why I always end up with extra things, because I like to have extra pieces in case I want to play. Oh, I've got to move some ink out of my way. I grabbed a whole bunch of ink, but it doesn't appear I'm going to be using it. Okay, dies. Here's that green area I was talking about using. And here's this, and this, and this. And we'll pull this little one out just in case we have enough extra. So, I'm going to use a little bit of tape here because the paper is a little warped from getting it wet, but not bad. So let's cut these out and then we'll figure out what kind of, if we want a circle or an arch or a rectangle or what we want to build our arrangement on. There that is. Oh, where's my bowl at? I have so much stuff all over my desk. Oh, there's the bowl. I'm looking for the bowl. I keep my dies in when I'm not using them, so I don't have to put them away right now. And we'll cut that one. And we'll get this little one here. Those out. Oop. Let's scoot that back just a second here. I'm going to turn it. My piece was a little too long there, and it was catching. There's another flower. Some leaves. Just setting all these off to the side. And let's do one more flower and one more batch of leaves. And make sure you poke out anything that's possibly going to hinder your stuff from die cutting properly. And that one. there's those two. Okay, this is the piece I colored because I thought it might be fun to have some leaves out of this. Let's just check and do one of each of those. And then I think we're going to do the same thing out of Pecan Pie and Early Expresso. So I want some contrast here. Be careful, these are small. It's a different, give you a different tone. And be careful that when you're pulling these out, they are delicate. But that gives you a totally different tone. Then we'll save this other little piece till we're done, just in case. But I think for contrast, I want some Pecan Pie and Early Expresso. Probably. We're going to go cut a piece of each. I'm not sure. But I do want some more contrast. Got some Early Expresso. And here's a piece of Pecan Pie. Because if you all use all the same tone, then it doesn't look quite right. So having a little bit of contrast, I think, is a good idea. And it just takes a second. And when I don't use, I'll just throw back in the box. Or in a bag. This just, my box is getting really full. It's time for a bag. Oh, what did I do with that? Oh, very nice. You guys see the contrast to these colors? That's the Early Expresso watered down. That's the Pecan Pie. And there's another Pecan Pie. Set that off to the side. And we're going to do an Early Expresso. Did I grab a big enough piece? No, I did not. Sorry, I thought I grabbed a big enough piece, but I didn't. That's a little wider. Just grabbing up some scraps. Large scraps, but scraps. Basically, I consider anything that wasn't a card base that's cut up already a scrap. I think that's going to, well, not all the die cutting yet, but for the moment. So we need to decide what we're going to use to build this. Oh, that's a nice contrasting color to put with it. The Early Expresso. Okay, so there's those pieces. Okay, and here's our color pieces. So those are all of our parts there. Now, we do need happy birthday stamped. And either die cut or put on something. How big is that happy birthday? Well, let's stamp it. And I think we better stamp it in Blackberry Bliss. I grabbed some dies, but it's rather long, so Let's stamp it so we have some extra room there. Oh, so pretty. Let me wipe this off here. You guys can't see the side of my desk, but it's piled with stuff. Okay. Oh. Trying to decide if I want to die cut that. These are the Textured Notes rectangle dies. Like I said, I use everything. Same stuff. Oh, that will fit in there beautiful. So we know that will fit. And I want a nice base to build our card on. So let's take this one and make it Blackberry Bliss, and we'll take this one and make it Very Vanilla. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 6 from the outside. But you could use whatever size you want. Okay, so we're going to die cut this. We are going to die cut that when I get a different piece of Very Vanilla. There we go. And then we're going to do this one out of Blackberry Bliss. Trying to see if I have something that I can use without cutting into a full sheet or half a sheet. Doesn't appear so. It appears that we're cutting into a half a sheet. But we don't need to go that far. We only need about 3 1/4 inches roughly. Okay. Is this going to go through? Oh, it will. Okay. This will go through this one. And this one we need to make smaller. And so let's die cut those pieces. I know this video is longer than my normal ones because I've been keeping them simple lately, but this one's simple. It's just you're seeing my thought process as I go. Like I said, I had not decided. I had postage dies. I had nested essentials. I have them all sitting out here. Oh, that's going to look very nice. Okay, let's get this Very Vanilla. Try to turn it at an angle if you can. They do go better through easier. That one, first one I sent through, is pretty straight because it's almost too big to go through here, but it does work. There's that Very Vanilla. And happy birthday. And I am going to use a little bit of tape on that so it doesn't shift on me. There's that piece. Okay, next it's time to choose. This is usually when I choose if I'm going to use ribbon or bling or both. And I did pull out before I started. This is the Charming shimmer that comes with this, but I'm not sure that's going to go that well with this. It might. Let's take a peek here. I just keep cases I keep stuff in. that one might work. Just pulling out a few things. Ooh, that's the pressed petals motif. That actually is very pretty. Could go to gold. Okay. I'll leave out the Charming Day one too. So I've left 4 out. Haven't decided yet. And then ribbon. I don't have Blackberry. What's this one? That's basic beige ribbon. But you know, that may work really nice in this. Or we could put some gold. Okay, basic beige or gold. Haven't decided quite. This is how my mental thinking works when I make a card. So, let's go. We're going to put this on here, and this is going to go like this. And then we're going to build our flowers on top of here. So, let's glue this down. Okay. And like I said, I didn't know if we were going to use everything. But I am leaning towards these smaller flowers because they look more like these flowers. And I do like... I'm just laying out stuff right now. I almost think I like the smaller ones better. And we'll put this through the center and pull those back. And then use a couple of these tucked in. I know you're thinking, what is she doing? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this to the front of the card. This is sort of how my mind works. I decide how I sort of want things laid out. Sometimes I take a picture of them, so I have it, but I can't do that today because, I'm just flipping that straight over, because I'm using my camera to film. But put that right in the center so you don't go over where you want it. And you could use tape, use Seal Plus or tear and tape, because there's going to be weight on this and you don't want it falling off. Okay. Then we're going to start putting these on here. I'm going to put the big ones on first. Then we'll use I'm just thinking. Because once you glue them down, you can't take them back. Okay, I'm going to stick these two down diagonally like this. going to the bottom here, not at the top. Well, this one you can go to the top because you're on flat ground. So it can go about like that. Now this one we can't, we can only put them on these 4. This has to sit inside here, so it's the bottom 4. Actually, I had it the wrong way. Still, no, it's only the bottom 3. It's this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one on the inside. Make sure you're still in the framework of your card. Okay. Now you're not going to see my whole flower because I'm going to use the flowers. Actually, you're going to see one behind and one forward. About like that. So I'm going to tape, put this one on here. Then grab some tear and tape. Not tear and tape, seal. And this is the bottom, and I'm put a piece of seal right here. Oh, it's supposed to be at the top, not the bottom. It's okay. And I'm going to take this one and just sort of tuck it up like this. Just like that. And this one's going towards the bottom. Actually, I want him on the front. This is when a silicone mat's handy. I'm going to put it right here on the front. Just like that. Okay. Then we're going to put that up on dimensionals. And then we're going to tuck a little more greenery and stuff in. In our case, brown. Still greenery. Just brown greenery. And I hadn't decided on that bow yet. And you know what? I'm thinking I might not use a bow on this, but I may use some wing of Stella. So I'm looking for my dimensionals now. We got a whole bunch of pieces here. Okay, trying to stay closer to the inside so I have room to tuck stuff. And about like that. I know I have my blue bowl somewhere. It's over there somewhere. I get rather messy when I'm working. Got a little glue right there on that, but that's fine. It'll dry and I can just go clean it up. How are we doing so far? I really want to know when I get done, when you guys see this, what you guys think of this card. Okay, now we do need some more. We could tuck that one there. And I'm thinking we should tuck that guy right there. You know, that actually may be enough right there. Sometimes you can get too much. So I will save all those extra pieces. I don't throw things away. Let's tuck those in. And you know what? I'm going to pop those up. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. Now you can see how my brain thinks when I'm designing. The last couple cards I know have been very simple. And I knew I was going to be, need one on that side. I knew I was going to be doing a painting video coming up, but that was about all. and I knew what stamp set I was going to use. And then I said, I'll figure out the rest when I'm filming. So I can put 3 of those little ones on. And we'll just sort of push that over the top there. And we'll do the same with this one, only at the bottom. Oh, I'm liking him. We'll tuck him up like that. Oh, I'm liking this card. Okay, so do we do ribbon? Do we not? Other than that, bling would work, but that darker would work really nice too. This is the Purple Fine Gems. That I think would take it down too much. It's just too dark. Unless we go for a gold bow. Let's see. We will not know until I tie one and we hold it up to it. And then we could go with gold accents then. Oh, gold does look very nice with that. Okay, let's go with gold. We'll put gold on it. And with this gold ribbon, I'm always turning, what I'm doing here is I'm twisting the bottom piece around. So, and I will show you how to fix that. Okay, just trying to get it small enough. It doesn't want to be a big bow. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to tuck that in right there at the bottom, right there. Need a glue dot. And this one keeps on flipping, so I'm going to flip him right over there. Trim that one off. Okay, so by putting a gold bow on there, I think we've committed ourselves to gold accents. And I still want to get some Wink of Stella on here too. So let me grab my Wink of Stella. Oh dear. There we go. I'm going to do this over here. Uh-oh. There we go. And I'm going very gently in the purple because it's water and it will bleed. I'm just going on these flowers just a little bit to add a little shimmer. I'll hold this up in just a second. So just like ink, water is ink. And it is ink. It's just watered down ink, but it will still bleed. And I'll clean that off on a paper towel back over there. So you can see the sparkly there. Okay, let's put some gems on here. Gold gems. And we have a big spot here, so we'll put one there. And then we'll put one there, and make a little triangle there. And I think that will do that job. So that's my card for today. Nice, simple, little Z-fold with watercoloring. So everybody tell me what you thought. If you like these type of videos, please let me know. I've had some people say they like them, some people they don't. But sometimes it's just easier, especially on something like this. It's just much easier for me just to turn the camera on and start working. So everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.